The TopBeer Crew went back on the road again on their continuing quest to find the source. We headed down to Coventry and found ourselves in an area called Fargo Village, which is home to a community of makers, doers and creative folk, producing and providing products that are that little bit different. It's here we found what we came in search for. Having burst onto the beer scene in March 2014, Twisted Barrel Ale have gone from strength to strength, seeing their beers going from selling in a local pub to distributing their wares far and wide, as well as becoming founding members of the Mercer Alliance of Brewers in August 2015. The crew enjoyed a Friday night in the bar sampling all that was on offer before catching up with head brewer Ritchie for a chat.
Hi, I'm here at the Twisted Barrel Brewery in Coventry with the owner and head brewer Ritchie. Hi Ritchie.
Hello.
So how long has Twisted Barrel Brewery been going then?
I guess going right back to the start, probably about 3 years now when we started home brewing in a garage.
Okay.
We set the brewery up itself as a commercial entity back in July 2013. Started brewing on our little kit that's just by the side of us here, our little 60 litre kit, around about New Year's Eve 2013. Carried on brewing kind of once a fortnight, working full time at the same time, releasing 250 bottles a month, just very small scale, trialing the recipes, seeing if people like the beers. And then we started to grow and expand around about March 2015. So we've been at a commercial size now for around about 15-16 months.
Okay. So why Twisted Barrel? Where's that name come from?
It's one of those tough things, isn't it? What do you name something? It's like naming a child, really, isn't it? Like, where do you start?
Don't call them Twisted Barrel.
yeah, that might not go down too well. But, no, it was basically a reflection on the style of beer we make. So we see the barrel as a traditional symbol of brewing. We do have a traditional bent to what we do. We take recipes, we try and follow kind of brewing styles as faithfully as we can. But then we like to give them a little bit of a modern twist. So the modern twist is the twisted, the barrel is the traditional style that we brew in.
So how many beers have you actually brewed or created since you started?
Since we started out, we're probably into dozens by now, I would imagine. We have a core set of 7 beers that we brew all year round, and we tend to do at least 1 or 2 specials a month as well, so probably around 30 or 40, something like that so far.
What's your personal favourite?
It changes all the time, to be honest, because the beauty of working in a brewery and drinking in a brewery is you get to drink it fresh. So the fresher it is, the better it tastes. So you tend to go through phases of liking whichever particular beer is fresh at that point in time. If we were going to pick today, I'm absolutely in love with Hum, which is our current special because it's just tasting amazing right now, and it's a lovely balance between the malt and the hops. It's just a real easy drinker, a lot of caramel kind of undertone and nice kind of stone fruit kind of hop flavour going on.
So what about if, apart from your own brew, then what other beers do you actually like to drink?
My favourite kind of brewers in the country, Wild Beer, since they started, have been a favourite of mine, just due to the kind of eclectic nature of the beers that they make. There's no one really still doing anything like they are in the country. They're such a kind of out there on their own kind of brewery in terms of their style. In terms of go-to beers, you trust kind of Buxton, pretty much anything they put out is going to be fantastic. If you're talking about a go-to beer that's generally available everywhere, like just something nice, easy drinking, I always go for a Brooklyn Lager if it's in the fridge, because it's just a favourite of mine. Love the Vienna Lager style, and it's everywhere these days, so it's easy to get hold of.
I mean, with all your beers, most of yours are, in fact, they're all keg, aren't they? Well, why did you choose keg over cask?
There's a couple of reasons. One, first of all, from the brewer's perspective, is the control over the beer. It goes out there. You can basically get it to the right level of carbonation, the right level of flavour that you want, and it can't really be tampered with in any way possible. So it's essentially, for me, as close as you can get to bottle conditioned beer, which is still my favourite form of beer, to be honest, bottle conditioned beer. But keg kind of mimics that quite well, I find. From a more practical perspective, when you're setting up a new brewery, very expensive venture, investing in a cask population that's going to have to number in the hundreds is a hell of a lot of investment to make. And because we knew we were going to have a tap house too that didn't have a proper cellar or anything like that to be able to store cask and do it justice and serve it properly, we decided for those business reasons to go primarily keg.
What are your plans for the future for other beers or any other styles? Anything you want to have a go at?
Yeah, there's always styles we want to have a go at. The sour kind of style is one that we haven't tried yet, and we're kind of try and have a go at that on the pilot kit soon. We don't actually have a straight up IPA in our kind of portfolio of beers, so we're going to be doing a series of IPAs next year. We'll sprinkle in our one-offs here and there, because the problem we've had really is we've done one-offs, they've been very popular, so then you kind of have to do them again every year. So we've now got about 5 or 6 beers that people really love that we'll continue to brew as one-offs now and then. At the moment on the horizon we've got a double black IPA that will be getting released next week. So we had our first double IPA Irreversible early in the year. This one's called Enter the Void, and that'll be out pretty soon. And now you're getting into winter time, so it's back to the darker beers. We'll be doing the high strength version of our mild, brewing that next Wednesday. The week after we'll be brewing up a spiced hibiscus de Bell for our Christmas beer. We've got a collaboration lined up with a brewery in Sheffield as well that's going to be really interesting. Probably can't say any more about that one yet, but that'll be one that'll
be on the rumour mill at some point, I think.
Yeah, that one will be aging for quite a while, so you might see that one kind of middle of next year, something like that. So that's going to be a really
Is that your first collaboration, is it, as well?
We've done collaborations kind of on a smaller scale in the past with some local breweries.
That's the Mercy and Alliance at the MAB.
Yeah, we've collaborated with MAB Fest. We've done some one-offs here and there with Clever Yeti, Sacra Brew, things like that. But in terms of on the big kit, and since we've got a bit more known, it is probably one of our first big collaborations. Really.
Yeah, so I know there's a lot of breweries that are doing collaborations together now. It's a good idea, good way of trying two different ideas.
Yeah, it is. It's great to work with people as well. Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, the people working with Sheffield, they've done this style of beer before, and we've never done it, so they can kind of walk us through it. It's a beer style that we know well and can do well, but barrel aging is something we've never done, so it's going to be our first time creating such a beer, which is going to be interesting.
So, what about your plans for the future? Obviously, you're based in Fargo Village at the moment. So it's obviously quite a big environment you've got here as well. So you have got a lot of events on.
Yeah.
Are there any plans to move anywhere, or are you just happy staying here?
We are happy at Fargo Village, and we want to stay here. We feel like we're part of the furniture now.
Yep.
The main issue we're facing obviously is capacity. We're brewing at capacity, pretty much full on, constantly brewing at the moment. We could do with extra fermentation capacity, and we're looking into an opportunity that will probably enable us to kind of triple an expansion that we're going to be working on pretty hard over the next 6 months or so. So come springtime next year, fingers crossed, there'll be Twisted Barrel version 3 from garage to tap house to we kind of, obviously not having worked commercially, there's some things that we didn't really grasp too well until we'd kind of done that, kind of made that step up.
Yeah.
Certain things that we need that we haven't got at the moment, so that's what the next phase of the expansion is about, redressing some of those kind of issues we've had and trying to basically expand our production as well.
How many people do you actually employ at the moment then?
Day to day, it's myself and Carl. We're the brewers basically. I kind of run the company. Carl does the brewing, and I help out with the brewing now and then. We've got 4 people on the bar team that come in and work at the weekends, and then the directors also help out here and there as well. Like my partner Jen, she helps a lot with the HR and managing the bar side of things. Chris, who started the brewery back with me a few years ago, he helps out as much as he can in terms of IT, marketing, helping run events, things like that. Coming down and getting his brew on whenever he gets the chance to. Just had a little baby, so they're a little bit busy at the moment. I think once things are settled down a bit, we'll be seeing him more around the place again.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, you have a lot of events here. I mean, like we were here last night for the Oktoberfest as well. Obviously, today you've got, for those that know, this isn't the usual side of the brewery as well. This is for the Father Ted Day.
I could get used to this in the brewing area.
This is actually, everyone did this for us. Normally over a bar talking to people. I mean, what kind of events do you put on regular every year? I mean, do you have a beer fest you put on regular, is there, or?
We do. It tends to be beer festivals a couple of times a year. They're a big investment of time and space for us at the moment, space being our main issue. So every time we have a beer festival, it means we have to pretty much shut down Brewer for about 10 days in order to accommodate it. The events that we've got coming up, we've got Father Ted Day today, and then we've got Day of the Dead next month, which is kind of a celebration of all things Halloween. The Mexican kind of Dia de las Muertes celebration. It's going on quite a lot in Coventry throughout October. It's a bit of a collaboration with the Herbert Art Gallery and other venues in town. After that, we're taking a bit of a break until New Year's Eve. Then we'll have our 50s kind of Greece New Year's Eve style party.
So that's like the 50s one. Good idea.
So we're kind of planning. They're the next few events we've got coming up. But then in the new year, with planning the expansion and trying to get that sorted out, we'll probably take a little bit of a break from bigger events for a little while, to be honest, and then bring it back with a vengeance when we're all kind of set up in
summer,
in our new home.
Of course. No worries. Yeah. So when you initially set up Twisted Barrel itself, I mean, obviously there's a massive outlay. I mean, what made you take the plunge? Obviously because it's a big thing to do, isn't it? Really, set up a new business.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's the same for any small business. It's amplified in brewing because of the massive capital outlay you need to set up. You know, it's a high capital, low margin industry. You basically got to work your ass off and try and make as much beer as you can, as higher quality that you can. And I think for me, kind of having a kind of office-based job for 17 years, I was kind of fed up with that environment. It was weird the other day because I had to go to a workshop on exporting because it's kind of the next part of what we're trying to look at as well as export. Sat in a room with a projector going all day, you know, writing notes and stuff. I felt like dead at the end of it. I was just like, God, how did I used to sit in an office all day, every day? So I guess it's that kind of weariness of that certain kind of lifestyle. And then when you get into beer, you'll know this, it kind of takes off. It takes over your life and becomes, you know, such an all-consuming passion. And I think what attracts me to brewing more than anything else, and why I was compelled to give up my day job and do it, was purely that non-stop continuous learning that brewing provides you with. You know, you can't ever be at the top of your game with brewing. There's always more to learn, you know, and that's what I like about it. You know, I'm here a few years in, I know how to make good beer, but I still don't feel like I know the first thing about brewing, you know. And I think, ask me in 25 years, I might have a clue and I might say I know what I'm talking about. But
we speak to Scotty at Fixwell as well. He's just saying there, he'll do a brew and we'll all get fantastic, you know, leave it alone, and he'll go and tweak it because he's not happy with it, and he's just tweaking each time. I think last night as well, we tried your wake up juice last night. I think it's 8.5 now, is it? I'm sure last time we came out it was 8.3. And also last night that comment and someone, was it lower?
It was 9.4 the first time. I went down to 8.5 this time. But that was because we brewed at
you
a
went
slightly
down,
different time of year. So the temperature was slightly against us, and the gravity finished a little bit higher. So it's actually got a bit more sweetness to it than last year's batch, which is why the lower gravity. The lower ABV. It finished at a slightly higher gravity. So it's actually more like a standard Tripel this time than last time. It was more of a double IPA Tripel last year, but it's quite a straightforward Tripel this time, which I'm happy with, but I kind of miss the old school kind of wake up juice as well, you know. So there's always things you want to change and you want to learn from and tweak about things. We've done so many beers this year that have sold out for us in record time for a batch of beer, you know, like 900 litres has gone in 4 weeks, and you're just scratching your head thinking, I didn't even like that and that about that beer, and I want to change all of that, but everyone's loved it. And that's where you've got to be careful with your tweaks and not change it too much that it's unrecognisable from the last time you brewed it, and keep the kind of the core basics of the beer the same, and just get those little things right that you're after. Because when you're doing kind of pilot recipes essentially on a commercial sized kit, which is what we tend to do now, it doesn't always come out 100% as you're expecting to. And it's we purely do pilot recipes on the big kit now because we're just more comfortable with the kit. You know, we use the 60 litre kit sparingly now and then for the real wacky stuff, or when we're working with a homebrew club, we'll use that kit, or if a member of the staff wants to get involved in brewing, they'll do a brew on that kit. So we use it more for that, or for kind of longer term pilots kind of ideas that we know is going to have to do a little bit of tweaking. But there's been beers this year, never made a Hefeweizen before, made it, happy with it, but still things I want to change about it. Did a porter for the first time. Actually, I really did like that one. I probably wouldn't change anything. Did a Belgian blonde that sold out in record time, but there's so many things I want to change about that beer. So yeah, it's an odd one. You're never quite happy completely because you've got that image in your head and the flavour in your head and the taste, and you learn from the kind of little mistakes you make. So
you mentioned about the homebrew club as well. When is that homebrew club? I mean, obviously people who might live local to yourself or in Coventry might think, oh, I'll have a go at that. So when is that?
We meet the third Tuesday of every month. Sometimes that moves because the local camera branch sometimes hold their meetings here on the third Tuesday of the month. So it's normally either the third or fourth Tuesday of the month. What we kind of do is we hold challenges every month. So we encourage people in the club to bring along a particular style of beer. So the next meeting's on Tuesday. I think this beer is I think it's an Oktoberfest style or a beer brewed with fruit, one or the other, I can't remember. And the reason behind that is to try and get people out of the comfort zone a little and try different kind of styles that they might not even want to make, but it's important for their development to have a go at a new style and try something new. So we do that, we have talks. So the next couple of workshops that we're going to be doing at the Homebrew Club are all about off flavours in beer. So we've got kind of tainting kits. We're going to taint some horrible generic pissy lager that doesn't taste of anything with some off flavours, and kind of so we can recognise, you know, the little mistakes we're making and off flavours that are getting into the beer. And the purpose of these kind of ongoing challenges and learning is that once a year we basically have a freestyle competition. Any member of the club can put a beer in. We did it back in July. We got about 15, 16 judges down, like local beer enthusiasts, homebrew, camera members, kind of members of the homebrew club were on the kind of judging panel as well as members of Twisted Barrel, the brewers, directors, all trying the beer and rating them. And the winner this year was a decaf coffee porter. So we're going to be brewing that on the big kit.
Decaf coffee porter.
Yeah, I know, very specific. I think his partner can't do caffeine or something, so he's done a decaf coffee porter. So we're going to be brewing that on the big kit and releasing it into the world kind of over the next month or so. So it's a little bit of an added bonus for them to be able to get their beers out there being sold commercially. And then we've got also things in the pipeline where we're going to invest in extra little kits, and hopefully post expansion we'll be able to have a dedicated tap line where Homebrew Club can come in, make their own beers and put them on the bar and see how people kind of respond to them basically. But mainly it's kind of like a beer geek club / enthusiastic homebrewer club, because there are people that come that don't even brew, you know, they just like sitting around, learning about beer, chatting about beer. So yeah, it's a good club. We've got probably 20-25 members now. You know, each meeting you tend to get roughly around 15-16 turning up, so it's got a good momentum behind it now, and it's built up into a real great kind of social club.
I wish we lived more local now. We popped down ourselves. Kev's after getting into he's trying his homebrew at the moment. He's using the syrups and stuff, and and his next step is to go to grain. It's always that, will it turn out okay? Will I spend all this time doing this and end up with beer that's good or bad?
Yeah.
And so far we've been quite lucky. We've had one so far. Was it honey porter you did, wasn't it? You did a honey porter. Yeah, and it was awful. It was just it was just overly honey. I don't mind honey, but honey porters. But it was just straight away. I was like, oh no, it didn't get out so well. But he's done an IPA. It was lovely as well. So he's that kind of hit and miss sometimes, I think.
That's always the way in the early days. You know, you got to keep trying new things and seeing what works. Basically, as long as you keep your process good and keep your sanitary conditions and manage your fermentation temperature, you're going to get good beer out the end of it. It just might be a recipe that maybe needs a little bit of tweaking sometimes. You know,
we did try tweaking one
maybe
before,
too much honey. You know, it's that kind of thing. But I mean, we get people from Rugby, Shipston on Stour, Birmingham, Coventry. We get quite a few people kind of coming over really. So not just Coventry. But yeah, it's what we're passionate about. We see kind of Coventry as, I mean, it didn't have a commercial brewery from 1924 to 2011, and there's still only 3 breweries in the city, and we came from that homebrewing background. We know that it doesn't take too much to make that next step and just start small kind of thing and start getting your beer out there. And that's really the purpose of the Homebrew Club, is to try and increase the brewing capital in Coventry, try and encourage people to take that next step. And
that is quite, Coventry's a big city, isn't it? So 3 breweries in the Coventry area is quite, compared to other places, and it's obviously craft ale at the moment is making such a huge impact on everyone we do and everyone you drink. So it's quite a shame only 3 breweries at the moment.
Yeah, I mean that's our dream, is just to have a dozen small breweries all working together, all making fantastic beer, all with a local kind of beer culture built up. That's what we love and that's what we're passionate about. And that's really what the Homebrew Club is about. Is we came from that background, we've done it, we can help people do it, and basically just make Coventry a destination for beer drinkers, really.
Yeah, of course, Ritchie, it's been great talking to you. Thank you for having us in your lovely sofa. But I look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks for coming down. Appreciate it.
Thank you.